Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And this time, we're going to be taking a look at a film called The Blue Umbrella.
Oh, cool.
It's a Bollywood film based on a novella by Ruskin Bond.
Okay.
And we have a whole stack of articles about the film reviews, analyses, all sorts of interesting perspectives.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that it's set in the Himalayan mountains. It's got this really interesting visual element to it, but it also deals with some pretty deep themes like desire and envy and redemption.
Interesting. So it's not your typical Bollywood song and dance kind of a thing.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all. It's much quieter, more introspective, and the critics have really responded to that.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of film that really makes you think.
Exactly. And one of the things that I found really intriguing from the articles is how this simple object, a blue umbrella, becomes this really powerful symbol.
Oh, yeah. That's so interesting how an everyday item can take on so much meaning.
Right? It's it represents something different to every character in the film. Exactly. And that's what makes it so fascinating, right? How a single object can be a source of both joy and conflict.
Absolutely. So, to give you a little background, the story centers around this young girl named Binia, and she lives in this remote village in the Himalayas.
I see.
And she gets her hands on this beautiful blue umbrella, but she doesn't buy it.
Oh, how does she get it then?
She trades for it with some Japanese tourists.
Wow, really? What does she trade?
Her lucky charm, which is a bear claw pendant.
That's fascinating. What a unique way to set up the story. You can already see the cultural differences at play.
Yeah, it really highlights the setting. You know, this remote village where bartering is still a thing, and Binya's innocence too.
Makes sense. And then this beautiful coveted object enters this small, close-knit community.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what happens next.
Well, that's where Nankishore comes in. He's the village shopkeeper.
Okay.
And he becomes absolutely fixated on Binya's blue umbrella.
Really? Why is that?
He's portrayed as this kind of miserly character, someone who hoards his possessions, and he seems to lack joy in his own life.
Oh, I see. So the umbrella represents something he feels is missing.
Exactly. It's like the symbol of everything he desires, but can't seem to attain.
That's a really clever way to explore the theme of desire.
Yeah. And it doesn't exactly lead him down a righteous path.
I was about to say, it doesn't sound like this obsession is going to end well.
No, it doesn't. He becomes consumed by envy and eventually resorts to stealing the umbrella.
Wow. So he actually steals it. That's a bold move.
It is. And it has huge repercussions, not just for him, but for the entire village.
How so?
Well, suspicion and mistrust start to spread. Everyone's wondering who took the umbrella.
Oh, wow. So it really disrupts the harmony of the community.
Exactly. And it makes you think about, the destructive nature of desire.
It's like that saying, right? Desire is a double-edged sword.
Yeah. It can be a powerful motivator, but it can also lead to some pretty dark places.
For sure. And it sounds like the director, Vishal Bhardwaj, really digs into that complexity.
He does. And one of the things he does really well is he gives us glimpses into Nankishore's past.
Oh, interesting. So we see what might have led him to become so miserly.
Yeah. He fleshes out his backstory a bit, giving us a better understanding of the pain and loneliness that might be driving his actions.
That adds a whole other layer to his character, doesn't it?
It does. It makes him more than just a one-dimensional villain.
Yeah. You start to see him as a human being with flaws and vulnerabilities.
Exactly. And that makes his eventual transformation all the more powerful.
Oh. So there is redemption for him.
There is. And it comes in a very unexpected way. So the climax of the film, Binia discovers that Nankishore is the one who stole her umbrella.
Oh, wow. What happens next?
You'd expect her to be angry, right?
Yeah, I would think so. She's a child. He's an adult who betrayed her trust.
Exactly. But instead of anger or retribution, she offers him forgiveness.
Wow. That's amazing. Especially for a child to show that kind of compassion.
And not just forgiveness, she actually gifts him the blue umbrella.
Oh, wow. That's such a powerful moment.
It really is. And it speaks to the film's core themes of compassion and transformation.
So it's not just a story about desire and envy. It's also about the power of forgiveness.
Right. It shows how one act of kindness can have a ripple effect on an entire community.
That's a beautiful message. And it makes me even more curious to see how Bhardwaj brings this story to life on screen.
Well, we'll definitely get into that, but first I want to talk about the performances because they play such a huge role in making this film so impactful.
I was just thinking that the acting must be incredible to convey all these complex emotions.
It is Shreya Sharma, who plays Binia, is absolutely radiant.
Oh, good. I bet she's perfect for the role.
She captures that childlike innocence and resilience perfectly.
And what about Nankishore? Who plays him?
Pankaj Kapoor. And the articles rave about his performance.
I've heard of him. He's supposed to be a brilliant actor.
He is.
Yeah.
And he brings so much nuance to the character.
I can imagine. It must be challenging to play someone who's both repulsive and sympathetic at the same time.
Right. You have to make the audience understand his motivation.
Makes sense. It sounds like a performance that's worth watching closely.
It is. And you know, it's amazing how much we've already uncovered just by talking about the story and characters.
I know, right? And we haven't even touched on the visuals or the music yet.
Exactly. There's so much more to explore in The Blue Umbrella.
Can't wait to dive deeper.
Me too. But for now, let's take a quick pause. When we come back, we'll delve into those visual and musical elements and see how they enhance the emotional impact of the story.
Welcome back. You know, as we were talking about the performances before the break, one thing that really stood out to me was how much the visuals seem to play a role in this film too. Oh, absolutely. The cinematography is just breathtaking. From what I've read, the way Bhardwaj captures the Himalayan landscape is just incredible.
Yeah, it's like he uses the setting almost as another character in the story. You know what I mean? I do.
Yeah.
And I think the use of color is really interesting too. Like how the blue of the umbrella itself really pops against the more muted tones of the village.
Exactly. It's like a visual representation of Bindiya's innocence and her joy.
Right, it's this bright splash of color in this otherwise kind of like earthy world.
Yeah, I love that. And it makes me think about how that blue umbrella takes on different meanings throughout the film.
Oh, for sure. It's like it reflects the changing emotional landscape of the story.
Right. Like at first it's this symbol of hope and happiness.
Yeah.
But as Nankishor's envy grows, that blue almost starts to feel like a threat.
Oh, totally. Like it's disrupting the balance of the village.
Yeah, exactly. Like a visual representation of the conflict that's brewing.
And the way Bhardwaj uses light and shadow is really cool too.
Oh yeah. There are some really striking images in the film.
Like what? Can you give me an example?
Well, there's this one scene where Nankishore is following Bindiya through the forest. And he's like hidden among the trees. And the camera focuses on his eyes, peering out from the shadows.
Oh, wow. That sounds creepy.
It is. You can just feel like the darkness of his envy closing in on her. It's so effective.
It's like he's using those visual elements to get under the skin of the characters.
Totally. And the music does that too.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the music, it's so different from what you'd expect in a typical Bollywood film.
Right. It's not like those big, like, over-the-top song and dance numbers.
Not at all. It's much more understated, which I think fits the tone of the film perfectly.
Yeah, it's got this earthy, soulful quality to it.
It really does. And it's interesting that Vishal Bhardwaj composed the score himself.
Really? Wow. He's a multi-talented guy.
He is. And I think it shows that he has a really clear vision for this film.
Yeah. It seems like every element is carefully considered and works together to create this, like, immersive experience.
Absolutely. And the critics seem to agree. I mean, they're all praising his ability to weave together the story, the performances, the visuals, the music. It's like a total package.
Yeah. It's not just a film that you watch. It's a film that you experience.
I like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why it appeals to such a wide audience.
It's true. Even though it's marketed as a children's film,
Yeah.
it has this, like, universal appeal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's like those classic children's stories that adults can enjoy on a whole other level.
Exactly. They have this depth and complexity that you might not appreciate until you're older.
Right. And I think The Blue Umbrella definitely falls into that category.
It does. It's a coming-of-age story,
Yeah.
but it also explores some really profound themes about human nature and the power of forgiveness.
It really makes you think about the things that we desire in life and how those desires can sometimes lead us astray.
It does. And it makes you wonder, what are the blue umbrellas in our own lives? You know, what are the things that we covet that might be blinding us to what's truly important?
That's such a great question. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot since I started reading about this film.
Me too.
Is
It's
it?
definitely a film that stays with you long after you've seen it.
Okay, so we've talked about the visuals and the music, but there's one more thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up. The box office performance. Because from what I've read, despite all the critical acclaim, The Blue Umbrella wasn't a huge commercial success.
That is interesting. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think part of it might be that it's just a very different kind of Bollywood film.
Right. It's not your typical masala entertainer.
Exactly. It's much quieter, more contemplative, and it requires a bit more from the viewer.
Yeah. It's not just about escapism. It's a film that makes you think.
Right, and I think that might have alienated some audiences who were expecting something more lighthearted.
That makes sense. But, I also think there's something to be said for films that challenge conventions, that dare to be different.
Oh, totally. And The Blue Umbrella definitely does that.
It does.
Yeah.
And even though it might not have been a blockbuster hit, it's still a film that deserves to be seen and appreciated.
Absolutely. And the fact that it won the National Film Award for Best Children's Film speaks volumes about its quality.
It does. And sometimes those are the films that have the most lasting impact. The ones that stay with you long after the hype has died down.
Well said. But before we get too philosophical, I wanted to circle back to something we talked about at the beginning. Remember how Binaya trades her bear claw pendant for the blue umbrella?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. That little detail, it says a lot about what the film is trying to say.
It does, doesn't it? It sets up this contrast between the village and these outsiders coming in.
Yeah, like the blue umbrella represents that clash between the old and the new.
Right, and how these outside forces can change things, upset the balance.
And then there's the whole idea of desire, not just with Nankishore, but with the whole village.
That's true. When the tourists come in, for all their stuff, their cameras and everything, it's like it awakens something in the villagers.
Like they start to want things they never even thought about before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the film is asking, what happens when tradition meets modernity?
That's deep. And it's something we're still dealing with today.
It is, isn't it? Globalization and all that.
Makes you wonder what Ruskin Bond was thinking when he wrote this story.
Yeah. Was he trying to say something specific about India? Or is it more about human nature in general?
I guess that's the beauty of good storytelling. It can work on multiple levels.
Right. It can be about something specific, but also universal at the same time.
And speaking of universal, one thing that struck me was how the film balances the visual with the emotional.
Oh yeah, the way Bhardwaj captures the Himalayas is amazing.
It's like you can feel the beauty of the landscape.
But it's not just pretty pictures. He uses the visuals to tell the story.
Do you have a favorite visual moment?
There's a scene near the end. After Benia gives Nankishore the umbrella, he's walking through the village, and he sees some kids playing.
Okay.
And the camera focuses on his face. You can see this glimmer of hope in his eyes.
I like that. It's subtle, but powerful.
And then it pans up to the blue umbrella hanging from a tree.
Wow, that's beautiful.
It's like the symbol of redemption and new beginning.
Which we've talked about a lot, but I think it all comes back to that question. What does the blue umbrella represent?
Right. Is it joy, envy, redemption?
Or maybe it's all of those things and more.
I think that's what makes this film so special. It lets you decide for yourself.
And that's the mark of a truly great work of art, isn't it? It makes you think.
It does. And it stays with you long after you've seen it.
Well said. So if you're looking for a film that will challenge you and move you and make you see the world in a new way, then you should definitely check out The Blue Umbrella.
It's a reminder that even the simplest things can have the most profound meaning.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into The Blue Umbrella.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time.